maybe there's still some time to go for Cop and Xpecial, but picks and bans are coming through. Voyboy pretty much never going to get Yasuo again. I feel like they never let him get that one. Braum also removed away. And Hai, we're going to see how deep his champion pool goes. He's already got 2 champions gone so far.
Right. Bans, not too surprising. Braum isn't generally high enough tier 2 first pick, so Cloud9 decides to ban it away because Curse would have taken it on the rebound. Actually, coming into this week, Xpecial had played Braum something crazy like 6 games in a row, playing it. So it was would have been a no hesitation pick for him. But his Thresh game was fantastic, so
yeah,
I feel like Curse would be very willing to take that on the way back as well. Lee Sin is up if they want as a first pick.
I'm surprised actually they removed Kale. Cloud9 has not shown results in the champion so far, but it's actually kog'Maw they go for here. So sneaky, maybe set up to carry this game.
Yeah, you know what? The not banning Lee Sin, or sorry, not first picking Lee Sin for Cloud9 was really smart because IWillDominate hasn't played it to success. Well, many teams would first pick the Lee Sin, including Cloud9, against a different opponent.
And in fact, with all the champions available for the jungle
Elise,
world dominate, yeah, sure. I mean, they're great, of course. Xpecial, a wonderful player in that one, but no, Ziggs comes through for Voyboy instead.
Wow.
And you're right, Lee Sin freely available to C9 whenever they want it.
Yep. Plus, Hai could pick his mid laner of choice because he knows what his main adversaries are going to be. Ziggs in the mid lane and Elise in the jungle. Ziggs isn't exactly the type of mid laner that you say, oh, he picked Ziggs. I'm going to counter it with this.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he picked Ziggs. I'm going to get pushed in very heavily.
Sure, but it's more the fact that 6 mid laners are gone from the pools right now. If you count Lulu as still an occasional mid right here. So I know he's played 11 unique ones, but if he's settled on something, he might not be getting it right now. Lee Sin does come through for Meteos. They're happy to wait on their top lane picks right now. It's going to be the Nami support to hold up against pretty much any matchup, and she's good against both the other 2 conventional big supports here.
Really trying to limit Curse's laning options. Would be very surprised if we didn't see a Thresh from Xpecial.
Yeah.
With the success on it last game. And they should probably save the last pick. Oh, wow. I'm about to be very surprised.
Really?
Yeah.
I am also surprised.
It's against kog'Maw, generally.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reason here. They want to be able to get the Solar Flare on kog'Maw to lock him down very well.
No, it's pretty hard for a Nami to stop Leona engages. No Black Shields, no Flays to stop the Zenith Blade. So you can bubble late, but the stun's going to land basically by that time. So I do want to see how this matchup goes up. Speaking of Afremu again, actually, he said that basically supports outside of the ones that are banned and picked recently, like Leona is pretty much outside there. Like they're situational at best. Maybe you can play them. Xpecial says, you know what? This is the situation for Leona. Maybe get his opinions on the champion afterwards.
Xpecial was a big-time Leona player during last split. He had a lot of really big Leona plays.
Yeah.
Kept his support pool very small back then, but still effective.
Well, speaking of effective, though, Orianna's going to come through and the Renekton top lane. So some early game pressure is here for Cloud9, and Hai is also able to keep Sneaky alive. So a lot of abilities to just make the AD carry big.
Very CLG-esque comp, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Not current CLG.
No.
We should probably stop calling it a CLG-esque comp.
2013
because they don't
CLG.
do it anymore yet. 2013 CLG comp. Maybe a Gragas out of Curse right here. Match their next in the top lane. Quas did play it last match. But there is heavy discussion going from Xpecial right now.
Yeah. He did say a couple of games ago, he's like, you know, my shot needs to step up a little bit. He's the guy. He's the voice. Here for Curse. Try to bring them up into those playoff spots. He wants to go to Worlds. Make it his 4th consecutive Worlds appearance, I believe. If he can bring the team.
That would be a tall task. Speaking of tall tasks, Jax against Renekton. Not easy at all, especially when you consider they don't have any enhanced the Jax metrics on their team right now. No shields or speed ups for him to have better success. They're really just going for a stall split push in that case.
They're gonna hope Dominate can maybe set him up. We have seen a couple of Jax's hold up. Dyrus did it just yesterday on Jax. Quas can hope for something similar here against Balls, who we've known as a very great Renekton player. And we know like the coordination between Balls and Meteos, setting up those dives with advantageous lanes, typically goes C9's way. Quas,
True.
Up against some heavy opposition here. We'll see if he can do it. Now while we're in the calm before the storm, let's see who you guys voted to win. According to LOLesports.com, 83% of you are giving this game to Cloud9.
Definitely seems like they had a strong drafting phase. You can update the vote throughout the game, though, tweeting at LOLesports. Use that hashtag, C9win or CRSwin. Or if you forget that, just look at the team tri-codes at the top of the screen. Call them tri-codes, even though some of them only have 2 letters, because the most letters they have is 3.
True.
And yeah, just hashtag whatever it is at the top of the screen.
On average.
Yeah. It's what on average? 2 point?
Probably like 2.75 in the North American LCS.
I think we have 2 two-syllable teams.
And then there's...
EG, Cloud9.
Oh yeah, EGC9, so that's 75%. And then we got SK, what? Is there only one in Europe? Copenhagen Wolves. All right, 75% all around the LCS. Now they're GMB, don't give me that.
Oh!
They were GG actually back in spring 2013. We made them change it. Decided that GMG looked cooler. Now guys, of course, getting ourselves into the game with this one. TSM, not TSM, sorry, we just started talking about names and I got confused. Cloud9, of course, still 2 games behind first right now. They have the chance with the rest of the games still in the schedule to catch their way back up, actually, in the first place time if they want to go for it. Start of the week, 1 game back. Here's a chance to close that gap a little bit here. Curse, they are in playoff position. As long as they keep at least 6th place, then they've still got that chance for the run, but I know they're not happy with the record right now.
Unfortunately, 4-0 the dream for SuperWeek is not possible for either of these teams.
Nor is 0-4 the dream.
That helps as well.
That's good.
Maybe everyone 2-2 the dream. Is that still possible?
I believe so.
Well, North American LCS has had its only 2 1-1 all across the board weeks the past 2 weeks. Could we have our first ever everyone 2-2?
That'd be awesome. A lot of streaks to go. Okay, I'm going to see Curse start with a couple of line of scrimmage wards there, but they're all hovering towards the top side of the map right here. Not everyone's showing, though.
Yeah, this could be a big splattering. But Meteos gets out of there. I was just informed EG cannot go 2-2. Worst birthday ever for Inox, unfortunately.
All right, early invades don't turn into too much, just some deep wards. Curse win as a group of 5. Xpecial also looking for a ward to look for lane matches, but Balls is already well past that spot. We'll get his way up into that solo lane up there to start things out. Cloud9 gonna go for the default setup. Looks like Curse, the same situation, so 2-on-2 lane's gonna happen. Corki, Leona, very dangerous lane. I think this is actually a matchup that you can win up against kog'Maw. By the way, kog'Maw, one of the scariest duo lanes. I think she's probably the best support for kog'Maw.
Yeah, just abusing that range of kog'Maw with the Nami attack damage and slow boost. Incredibly dangerous. But at the same time, I think all the way back to Season 2, Leona Corki was one of the most devastating kill lanes possible.
Actually got scarier. Corki's Q has more range now and has an AD ratio.
Yeah.
There's actually more damage in that lane now.
You know who's been around that long? Xpecial and Cop.
Yep. We fought each other actually in the Season 2 regionals.
Way back now.
Yep.
But that does not do much to help them.
Not necessarily.
Xpecial getting taken half means they're pretty much trapped in their turret until level 2 or 3. It'll be about keeping health up now.
One thing I noticed, actually, you speak about them being at half HP. Cloud9 does have the early lane push. You actually saw Sneaky leave the leash towards the blue buff really early on. And so Cop and Xpecial were actually later to lane, and it let them get the early push, let them get the level advantage. And it made Cloud9 look very good. So Dominate going to try to get a second buff as well. He started blue buff. He's safe for this one. Jungle's going to be okay. But already you've got the dual lane advantage there. The kog'Maw starting out nicely. That's never a good thing to fight against.
No, you can see an interesting trend in the bottom lanes. I mean, it's been like this for quite some time, but it is the early pushing in the bottom lane, having a lot of say on how the early lane goes. And that is a team-wide thing, because that push can be delayed if you're defending your jungler longer, if your jungler wants a better pull, if you're warding against late invades, and there is a little bit of a mini mind game amongst all that. Of course, with the range support versus melee support, it's much easier for LemonNation and Sneaky to shove that lane.
Yes.
Early on in the game, which is, you know, just a credit to their champion select. Obviously, the Corki Leona has that throwback power of knowing that it's a devastating kill lane in the past, but it's definitely not one of those devastating early pushing lanes.
Yeah, it works if you get there first, because Relic Shield gives you 2, like, basically half HP executes. If the melee is basically at, you know, at half HP, basically, it'll die to a Leona auto attack. You can get the first push. And you can either save the charge for sustain, or you can use it to push the wave in to get the push in your favor. But as we said, they were there late. Of course, you can see on the scoreboard down there, Xpecial has no CS, so he'll help cop last hit under turret, but definitely not going to have the push lead on this one. And yes, as we see, it does help C9 there in the beginning. Top lane, actually, you got to point out as well, Quas right now holding up against Balls in that top lane.
Yeah, the early shove.
Sure.
Is the main differentiators in these laning things. It looks like Dominate's just going through a quick client restart.
Yeah, particle bug for him. Restarting the game. He'll be back up in a second there. And game will resume in a second. Actually, it's the interesting thing about the Jax matchup, though. You said the early push. I watched a video about a month ago of like top 50 challenger Korean solo queue player, like mains Jax. And he's like, Jax can actually sometimes win the Renekton matchup. The most important part of a Jax matchup is level 1.
Right.
You learn Counter-Strike. If you find a good trade by pulling minion aggro and doing 100 damage on Counter-Strike, you can bully around for a while. You can make him burn the potion and get a lead back in.
Yeah, and the big thing is stopping Renekton from building up his 50 rage before he can trade with you.
Yeah,
is absolutely critical.
Yep, it's a couple small things you can abuse in your favor and try to keep the matchup going, and see if these guys can do it. 3 minutes in, no big lead on either side here. Voyboy holding up against High, who's had pretty mixed results for himself. Wants to be as lightweight as possible for his team there. Sneaky still doing nicely. Level 2 on him. Lemon puts the ward down. But Dominate actually wants to go for his first gank top lane here. Can pretty much take whatever route he wants. There's no vision at all.
It almost feels like he's hoping for a counter gank. Now I'm even more surprised because he's just showing immediately with very little harass on the balls. It looks like Quas might just want an early recall.
Yeah, it's the 3 minute, basically push the 3rd or 4th wave in and then go for the item advantage. This should allow him another item here. So.
Exactly. He was sitting on 660 gold, so he'd get the item and the ward. Also, that bottom lane we talked about, hitting level 3 is a good time to go in. And there it is.
There it is. Half HP LemonNation taking even more damage. This one, Bubble's going to hit the AD carry, though. Forcing Cop away on this one. 7 minion lead from the early pushing, but the lane's back to close to equal. Lemon slinks back into the brush.
Yeah, but even so, the amount of CS they lost to turret was pretty high.
Absolutely.
Leona not the best at helping keep CS at turret. It's a very swingy support matchup. That's why a lot of pro supports have swayed away from Leona, because while she does have tremendous engage potential, she doesn't have nearly the flexibility that the other supports have to really swing with the dynamicness of games if you're not ahead. Leona kind of needs to be ahead.
Very true. And fighting under turret as well, one of the difficulties about this is even if you do go in, even if they're under your turret, you're going to pull minion aggro. As soon as you go in, you're going to take a whole bunch of extra damage from your opponent's minion waves. Makes it hard sometimes if you're getting pushed in. Dominate does get around the wards, looking for this flank on High, who's on the very opposite side of the lane. Voyboy goes in, pops the ghost, the W there as well. Cocoon's gonna hit, High doesn't flash it. Finally does now, but they're diving out of the turret anyway. First blood goes through. Nicely done, Dominate and Voyboy.
Nice little bounce back at the double speed summoners. Really gaining popularity. You see a lot of Twisted Fates doing it, and speaking of which, bottom lane.
Well, damage comes through, Sneaky down about 400 health. Bubble always goes for Cop there. Notice the choices there for LemonNation, but damage does come through, forced to be healed up by this Nami.
The mid lane gank is very, very important. Burning the flash heal and still getting a kill is not something you get that often. Only one summoner burned on Void, meaning he still has his flash.
Right.
Punishing lane.
Looks like Balls did get to recall himself, though, to match that top lane. Double Dorns on both these guys. And that lane's actually going Quas' way as well. So I gotta give a lot of props to Curse so far, or I guess both their solo lanes doing exceptionally here. Dominate's really made himself known on the map. Meteos, we haven't even seen him yet.
Meteos does generally like to get up to his Spirit of the Other Lizard as quickly and reliably as possible and then go aggressive on Lee Sin, so he's in the process of doing that. But yeah, I absolutely agree. Dominate has had a lot of ganking pressure. And because of his successful gank, has more gold than Meteos.
Right, of course. Spirit Stone done is going to actually increase his jungle speed as well, but it won't make him a good duelist. Meteos on double longsword is going to have a lot of damage available to him. If he can find something to do. Almost level 6 right here before 7 minutes. That is a quick clip. He's been just farming, not hiding by any lanes at all.
And once he is level 6, if he were to stay in his jungle, his experience curve would diminish greatly. But being level 6 now kind of means that after he hands off this blue buff to High, it's gank presence time for Meteos. And if he's not doing that, he's really not playing efficiently.
And we'll see if they can play for that second round of buffs then. He's going to be a bit more powerful than Dominate at that stage of the game. Ruby Crystal now coming in for the Elise. And we'll see if Cloud9 can do something now, because this would be the time I would think Meteos would get to make a play here. Has his ultimate, has the item advantage, do something with this. That was kind of the old Cloud9 way in 2013.
Yeah.
Was get a bunch of farm, be ahead of them in levels, use that to make plays in these guys. Whereas other junglers would like look really hard to find ganks, link into lanes, get themselves shown a whole bunch. And that's going to be the task right here. High is holding up, did die, keeps with him 2 CS here.
Yeah, another quick particle bug for High here. So that's just another client restart, should be a pretty quick move. And yeah, to get back to Meteos, the big thing that was enabling him to do that back in the day, though, was that generally High was always pushed up in lane. He was picking those big-time wave clear, scary people. Like he played Kennen sometimes. His Zed was very, very strong. Ryze was strong. These guys that were really hard to duel. Jace could clear the waves very well.
Yeah.
But now on Orianna against Ziggs, it's not like he has this wave clear advantage. So when Meteos goes to make a big play, the first respondent to the chaos in the enemy jungle is the enemy. And that's not exactly what Meteos needs if he's trying to make plays.
That's true, actually. And you're seeing these players get better and better and better over time. I mean, you got to imagine the level of skill has gone up so substantially over the last year. And, you know, trying to stay ahead of the curve as well, you know, being able to just push your lanes all the time, be the dominant players no matter what, and not get punished for it. That's not an easy possibility for these guys. I mean, there's so much parity in the North American LCS among all these teams, right? Anyone can beat anyone. We see that all the time. And so, yeah, Cloud9 kind of needs their a new fallback pattern. Like now, what is the way in which you win games? Because it's not just win lane, snowball ahead, okay, close, because you've got more gold than the guys. And so far, it still looks like they're playing a lot of that sort of passive style. Oh, we'll win in the laning phase. We'll just kind of team fight later on. Whereas a lot of teams that are very successful, we saw TSM just 20 minutes ago, kept forcing the issue, kept finding the advantages, making them happen.
Yeah, the biggest point, and I saw Scar talking about this earlier as well, is it's not that everyone in the North American LCS is just amazing and that's why it's so close. Teams have very defined strengths and weaknesses right now. And Cloud9's, some of their weaknesses is their champion pools aren't meshing with the type of play that they like to embody. And it's something that they still have time to work on. Very clearly, though, High's champions are not there for this Super Week. You look at his solo queue rank, he's still incredibly high. He's in the top 20 of Challenger very easily, playing all these different champions. But as far as mastery over certain champions, he's got some work.
Absolutely. I mean, the game just plays differently in a competitive situation compared to just solo queue. You've got to pay much more attention to, oh, it's 7 minutes. What kind of things can my champion do right now?
Speaking of 7 minutes, that's a lot of people in the Dragon Pit, but LemonNation did not have level 6 to swipe the tidal wave over top of them.
So Curse just walk right out. Xpecial dodges the bubble, and they are safe. They even got to recall Cop to buy an item, and he's still holding up in CS down here in the lane. So all down the line, Curse making great plays around the map. Quas still holding in this Renekton versus Jax matchup. All Dominate had to do is push a wave one time, and Quas is holding the lane.
We've seen a remarkable amount of uncontested 7 to 8 minute dragons with standard lanes this week in the North American LCS.
Yes.
I don't actually think that's a trend that's going to stick through many weeks, but it's something the teams are definitely able to pull off this week.
Well, Cloud9 looking for their play right here. Smite is back up both these guys. Meteos grabs the red, gets out. There is the buff steal that they were looking for in this one. That's going to be successful. Meteos, Sneaky and Lemon still trying to play aggressively down here. They're taking some time before that first cog item comes through.
We haven't looked at the top lane, but Quas is at 71 CS. Balls is 71 CS, which is great for the Jax matchup. That does have a little bit to do with Dominate helping the shove early so he could get that early item advantage, and Quas is trying to maintain that ever so small edge.
Everybody gets a turn. Who wants their own particles to look flashy and pretty? So, Curse right now, 1,100 gold up. Dragon.
Maybe because of the dragon.
Sure, yeah. I mean, Dragon's like 90% of that right there. But the top lane kill, of course, mid lane kill, the gank early on was great. They got the summoners burned as well. Interestingly, didn't see Dominate revisit that lane against a 0 summoner Orianna. I found that kind of interesting.
Right.
But High managed to stay safe. They did play around the 8-minute dragon successfully. I believe they got that after their blue buff, if I remember properly, on the respawn there. So overall, I mean, Curse are making very good choices as a team. You did see C9 look for something aggressive, right? They went for that red buff steal. It didn't turn into a fight, so it didn't look aggressive for long. But you've seen both these teams say, this is something that we can go for. We can contest. We're stronger on this side of the map. And just very quickly, it got seeded. Problem is, when Curse makes those choices, they're dragons, not red buffs.
Yeah. It is at least a response to a move, which is something Cloud9 needs to make sure they're doing when they've been getting in trouble a lot this year, kind of in their loss against Complexity. Complexity was just doing a bunch of stuff, and they weren't necessarily responding. At least they're making slight responses. You do enough dragon for red buff trades, though, and you are going to lose.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now, 1,000 gold is the loss here for C9. High still to hold the mid lane there. Quick recall back for everybody else involved. And the first set of items come through for Sneaky, also going for Triforce first. So the same build for these AD carries. Meteos, higher level jungler here, level 7 for himself, is just chain farming. It's a very interesting choice for a champ like Lee Sin. You think it'd be, you know, oh, I'll be a Master Yi, I'll be a Pharaoh Flare jungler. I can go ahead and farm the camps all the time. Lee Sin, normally one of those early bullies who gets to do things early on, make all the flashy plays. You heard Amazing talk about that. Yeah. Lee Sin's so well respected because he can play make, whereas, you know, in Elise is just sort of standard. She's kind of always pretty good. The Meteos hasn't gone for those flashy plays.
Yeah, he's still going to be able to, though. You can see now with his Lizard Elder completed and his Pink Ward. That's kind of the next move that he should hopefully make. If he fails to make plays beyond this point, he's lost a lot of the potential. He's already lost a decent part of it. That's the Leona, though.
A lot of stun. Sneaky's going to flash, but it might not be enough. One more attack, and that is it. Nicely done there. Xpecial landing the ultimate and everything else. Sneaky's now out of summoners.
That just comes from tons and tons of Leona experience from Xpecial. Flanking around the side and just max ranging that ultimate.
Xpecial did not see Meteos being there, though. Look at the counterattack, kicks him back in. The tidal wave as well. Look at the damage output. Is Ignite going to be enough now? Xpecial walks away alive. Would you believe it?
Drinking the health potion all the merry way. That is a big moment right there. Just have to note Xpecial's ultimate is actually on cooldown. It's just not displaying properly on the screen. So he had just used it for the previous kill. Nice move.
Absolutely phenomenal. So, Curse, 1,500 gold lead now. This is a number that keeps growing for these guys. They've not suckered themselves into any bad plays at all. I mean, a smart play by Meteos to guess the Tri-Brush ward. Know that, oh, you got rid of the guy in the bottom lane. It should be easy time to go ward. The jungler being there, a surprise definitely. But you see Cop, how far back he plays, respecting the fact that he's outnumbered in the lane.
Oh, they
There's
get him
a jump
again?
in onto Sneaky tidal wave. The bubble's going to hit Cop, but there's nowhere for kog'Maw to go. And once again, Xpecial locks down the AD carry.
Xpecial and Cop are having a great day as a bottom lane. Xpecial making the plays, Cop playing really safe, but then having enough peace of mind to follow the aggression of Xpecial.
Cop was such a good actor there. He played like there was no support in the lane, if you saw that. He was so far back, so afraid of kog'Maw's damage. I actually called, oh, Xpecial must be gone. He's actually waiting the brush on the other side. That was excellent by Cop.
Yeah, they got presence in that bottom lane now. It's going to be tricky for Sneaky on kog'Maw. Not the greatest protection mechanisms in the lane, at least, for Nami. High not having too much ability power yet either. Should prove to be a very interesting match.
I want to see the decision-making continue, though, for these guys. Dragon 115 away. C9 actually could freeze this for a short time and only push when Dragon comes up. They have a reasonable expectation of the timer there. But right now, not the case for these guys. Dominate getting the second round of buffs. Blue coming back up here. Looks like that actually was taken after the Dragon. correct that one here. Blue buff going towards high as well. So now looks like the inner jungles are safe for both teams, but yeah, it's been Curse who's controlled neutrals really well.
What a turnaround today so far from Curse as well. You know, losing that game to TSM yesterday where they really didn't seem to do anything versus the action that Xpecial has been able to take today in laning phase against two very good teams in LMQ and Cloud9.
Such a great adaptation too. Like, let's find something that has to play aggressively, kind of conditioning yourself to look to make the plays. Especially the fact that you can lock down a kog'Maw so easily. It's honestly quite amazing by these guys. 2,000 gold lead, Dragon up in 13 seconds here. Cloud9 ready to defend it, but Curse, you know they're going to want this as well. Teleport up for Quas, but not for Balls. That's a big advantage that Curse can use.
Quas fighting pretty well against Balls right here. W max second, which is usual for Jax against melee versus melee matchups.
Yep.
Oftentimes against range matchups, we see Jax go with a Q max first. Not today.
So there's the pink ward for Dominate. Doesn't spot the ward just to the left, but
I mean, with the teleport advantage,
oh sure,
you would expect them to go very early. They just have to be careful that Meteos doesn't get an opportunity to steal this. Looks like they're not even going for it.
They know they're going to get outnumbered. Ball still has a minute to go on his own teleport there. Dragon even levels up for him in time, so a little bit more gold goes through, and there's the smite. Dominate, making that 2 dragons now in a row, 14 minutes in. This is eerily similar to TSM's game. They got their second dragon around the same time, actually. Seems like they've absorbed the powers they combined as one. And it's this aggressive team making a lot of plays.
Yeah, I gotta see how Dominate transitions this as well. He has the 2 early kills. Oftentimes we'll see Elise's with 2 early kills go for the full penetration build there.
Yeah.
If he goes haunting guys next, or if he transitions more to a tanky ban as a fear of the kog'Maw's damage. But quite honestly, against the kog'Maw, the haunting guys would probably be more effective because they need to kill him first and foremost. And with the types of leads they're accumulating, looks like they're going to be in a position to. This is one of these Curse games where instead of them being behind, making good play, and then kind of being even, they just didn't fall behind in the first place, made the good play, and now they have a real lead.
And I do like what all their champions can do for them. Every single one of them good at diving in some way. Leona, ludicrously tanky, going to be getting Face the Mountain before too long as well. You can see actually that might be his very next item here for Xpecial. You've got Quas, who's got plenty of stats as well, doing great in lane still. 143 minions, 60 minutes is a great score for a top laner. Fighting Renekton, even more phenomenal there. Of course, we talked about the 2-0 Elise. Ziggs can help as well. Quas still pushing balls around.
Whoa.
Curse have all the elements they need to win this.
Final pick Jax into a Renekton really shows, like, Quas is in on a secret that no one else is in on.
Yeah.
Right? Because everyone has been losing this matchup. How is Quas doing this? Is it him doing well, or is it the fact that Balls has had a very lackluster split, going from the best top laner unquestionably of North America to someone who's not even winning the Renekton Jax matchup 1v1?
I do want to give some credit to Dominate for that one, though.
Yep.
Like, top lane is so isolated sometimes. Just that little bit of intervention sometimes does make all the difference. I do want to credit that one push just for the earlier recall to get some extra pressure there. And speaking of him, he's there again if his lane pushes out, but Balls, so we're going to recall off that one. Meteos will hold the lane instead. And you realize that Balls has gone back to the lane, so Dominate recalls on top.
Yep. More minions for Quas. Gobble them up.
The Curse are ready to gobble up more. They've just warded. You see Xpecial has been pulled around the map to ward up by the blue buff. One on one of the entrances by the mid lane, one on the buff itself. And Curse are planning their next offensive move right now. In about a minute, that blue buff comes back up.
I think we're going to get to see a little bit of a 2v2. Level 11 on Balls makes him a very hard person to take down. It's all about when Dominate wants to show, because Meteos will be in tow very quickly. So tanky people here for this fight.
Balls' dash still down. He was hoping to bait that one.
That was a really good trade for Balls, though.
Cocoon's gonna hit. Look at that one. Counter-strike as well. No! Gets away from that one. Balls loses the flash and some health bars.
Yeah, and Meteos had actually fainted back down, not thinking the Quas was going to go in. Then the exact moment happened, so a step behind there.
Yeah.
by Cloud9, actually. Ends up having to burn Balls' flash.
It's a flash for about a minute of the jungler's time, so Dominate.
Minute of both junglers' time is important, because Meteos spends so much time up there as well. Obviously, it was unbeknownst to them exactly where Meteos was, but we still have to keep that in mind.
Very good point there. Blue buff back up now for Curse. Voyboy going to grab that one for too long, and High, despite the ward on top of that one, it's not going to get counter-jungled here. So these guys have, once again, held their own jungles just safe. Cop went mid lane to clear the wave as Voyboy left for a short time. Quas again battling up against Balls, but this matchup that just eventually flips over as more items come through. You gotta wonder how scary it's gonna be for Cloud9 if they can't deal with that champion.
Some of them might be scary for Curse, though, is the way this kog'Maw lane is developing. It's been pushed to Cloud9's side for a while, and Sneaky is picking up a lot of uncontested farm. Yet Cop and Xpecial haven't been able to make roam plays, either in the mid lane or the top lane. And kog'Maw is just getting more and more powerful.
That is a scary thing. You definitely gotta keep that one in mind. And so Curse are holding around the mid lane. Cop back to mid one more time. Dragon at a minute 20. That can pay off about 1 or 2 waves of farm on the AD carry. It's pretty similar, actually. The gold you'll get from a Dragon kill, if that ends up being the play here for Curse. Look at this move, though. You've got Renekton waiting around the wings. They gotta want this one. Quas gets stunned up. The slows come in as well. Mid lane turret does finally go down, though. And Quas walks away.
Jeez. But teleport down, actually. We had a mismatch of teleports last time, where Curse was able to take the dragon because Quas had his teleport up.
There's the recall from Meteos, 45 seconds in advance. Gets himself the items. Giant's Belt comes in. Pink ward in the inventory of him and Sneaky. 40 seconds till Dragon. And right now, the recall for Balls as well, so he'll have items in time for the Dragon fight. 30 seconds in advance. Quas still just pushing in. Will he come across the map or not?
This is the thing here. At this point in the game, knowing where Jax has made it to, even though Curse does have an edge, if Cloud9 devoted 5 people to Dragon, Curse easily takes that trade for Quas pressing the second tier turret. So Curse, even though they don't have the teleport, still have a pretty good option of what to do.
That is a scary thing. If Balls can't push this lane out, actually, there is really no good fallback pattern. So Balls trying to freeze the lane right in front of his own turret to keep...
want to teleport in now. Like, he really wants to, but he would lose the second tier turret.
So Curse is going to play against that buff. Or that bluff, rather. 4-on-4, C9, you can see. They, I mean, they can sweep away wards. They could try to pressure mid, but Voyboy's already there to push that wave out. Curse's red buff's up, doesn't matter too much. Cloud9 once again sweep wards away. They are going for this one. They're looking for this right now.
Curse right now is respecting the teleport. Balls is out of range, so they're kind of giving it up. I really feel like Curse could have played this one much more aggressively, but they end up giving the dragon just because of the teleport cooldowns.
I think they respect the fact that Meteos High could force a kill. Like, yeah, maybe you trade dragon for turret, but if you get forced from a 4v5, life is even more painful for you.
Yeah. So. Curse has some bad memories of this happening. Where they contested 4v5 dragons. And there is a way to do it right, but it's very difficult.
And so instead they just poked with some Ziggs bombs and said, you know what, all right, well earned, you guys had teleport instead of us. Top lane outer still did go down earlier, so it's not like Curse really lost out super hard on Global Gold. 3,700 still separating the two teams. Cop, I believe, is actually going... No, never mind. That's going to be Infinity Edge. Thought it was Bloodthirster for a second, but...
Yeah. I'm waiting for Corki's to go Bloodthirster. Trinity Force plus Bloodthirster would give a lot of survivability to a Corki.
Close to 700 health, basically, by endgame. So Cop's gonna actually move himself top lane now instead. Looks like they'll send Quas to split push the bottom lane there. They know Baron is a very real possibility with the Blade of the Ruin King Jax and Elise. Corki's got some pretty good damage as well. So the standard gameplay of split push your teleport bot lane, try to set up Baron. Curse playing this pretty much by the book. Not a lot of kills, but they've still done a good job of wresting advantages across the map. All 3 outer turrets are gone. And once again, Renekton will be trying to face Jax, but now 20 minions down. And a phage here for Quas. This matchup's only getting better.
Yeah. Cloud9 had the experience against LMQ with a Cog Mundo in the late game. They eventually got strong enough. but I don't know if the same is true with this guy in the bottom lane.
Wow, look at the damage. Quas could maybe dive this one. 500 health on Balls, has to flash the wall, and Quas just goes for it. Look at that, the 1v1 Quas taking control of the matchup.
Wow. That is really bad news for Cloud9 when their Renekton cannot even stall off a Jax. Getting the red buff really messed with Balls' ability to analyze that fight, but geez, he got completely destroyed. And at this point, they're just kind of waiting for him to teleport back. If Cloud9 sends someone down, they would forfeit the Baron, so they just have to let him go free.
Look at that, bottom tier 2 goes down, so everything really going Curse's way. He even stole the white over there a second ago.
Yeah, and honestly, what was Balls doing out there? Quas had a red buff and full attack speed stacks. The Baron game is real.
Ooh, good flash by Sneaky, but now can he get out? Ziggs bomb hits, but not too much else. Xpecial actually gets exploded on the backside as W missed, so the buff timed out. And that's a lot of damage you can put through when Leona's Eclipse is gone.
Ouch.
Yeah.
The fear of kog'Maw, just a Trinity Force and a Bilgewater Cutlass. You can see why kog'Maw gets banned so much in Korea and why he is getting picked so much here in North America.
When you've only bought health so far.
Yeah, Ruby Sightstone.
Yep. Targon's Brace as well, a couple hundred, so it's a bunch of damage that comes through for these guys. Cop gonna keep pressure on this top lane right here. The battle against Sneaky has got to be one. I don't feel like either person wants to fight hardcore. It's just, hey, I can sometimes outrange you, so I'm gonna poke you.
Yeah.
But Cop to give up map control in a game like this would be really potentially the beginning of disaster for Curse. Yeah. And Cloud9, of course, don't want to snowball the game any worse than it is.
Yeah.
They got to figure they can still hold on.
Immediately, Xpecial built that chain vest as well, because he knows what his job's going to be. Frozen Heart being completed by IWillDominate will help them even more as far as diving on to Sneaky. One thing that they've kind of lost track of because they killed him early is High's Orianna. Being at nearly 300 CS 25 minutes in with the death cap is a threat they cannot underestimate since they're so tunneled onto the power of kog'Maw right now. Last thing they want is the team to get ripped apart by a shockwave.
Sure. Yeah, we haven't gotten to see much from Voyboy and High. Like, there was a 6-minute gank in the mid lane, and that was it. They've just been steadily farming 300 CS. First one to 300 is High. For what it's worth, the Orianna, one of the champs actually that Link said was still in his pool yesterday, is doing all right for the guy. And Kerr's going to continue to respect that champion here. What they don't respect, though, is this red buff here. Going to go in. Quas looks to clear that one away. Almost. Sneaky got a little one. Dominate. The Q's going to land. Actually, they could get some damage here. Slows come out from Meteos. But back out they go. Dragon 1 minute away, and already Curse getting control.
Quas was thinking about trying to do something sneaky there. He was behind Cloud9. The team could not funnel through for a fight. And it's a tricky situation here for Curse because they did have those early game advantages, but this is one of those situations where they don't necessarily have the crispness of closing. But they probably had this pink board thinking for a while. It's exactly where you go next. Sneaky's backing. It does not look like Cloud9 is stopping this one. That is a Baron gone.
Wow, Cloud9 unable to make any plays to contest much of anything except for a Dragon the one time, and Curse claimed themselves the 3-man Baron with Quas in base and Voyboy in mid. Before 27 minutes, no one even gave him a second look.
Such perfect timing too, because the Dragon's coming up in 10 seconds, Freak. So they can take both these objectives, get the huge spike in gold, go back and shop, and then really start attacking Cloud9. This is exactly the way Curse wants the game to progress. Yeah,
there's no way if you're C9 right now, you fight the Baroned up Curse with a gold lead for a Dragon 27 minutes in. So more gold coming through. These guys trying to make their way up the standings. They always knew they could do it. The start of the season, Curse had so many close games with the top teams. Nearly won games, and they would keep making that one dumb mistake, throwing it away, and failing to recover. Curse, a couple weeks ago, had a dumb mistake but pulled it back in, and it was like, this is the glimmer of hope. Curse can finally close things out late.
They beat CLG.
Game. Yeah, right? And now they're in complete control against Cloud9, who got almost every champion they ever wanted. kog'Maw for Sneaky, Meteos on Lee Sin, High on Orianna, and Curse control it every step of the way. Quas.
The sound of Jax.
Yep.
That's one of the big things. 2 big damage items here and another red buff. So Curse has the opportunity here to try another bit of a split push escapade. If they Baron up, push for the top lane with 5 or with 4, and then have Quas in the bottom lane with his teleport up, or because they have the Baron buff and the Frozen Heart completed, plus the big damage onto Quas, this might be the time where they say, all right, let's go in hard with the Leona ult and try and end this thing. Because if they got a clean enough team fight, they would be able to push through for a win.
Yeah, and I like this style from Curse as well. I like the fact that they have the ability to just go hard, right? To dive on in. It's interesting, there was an interview with Xpecial recently where he was like, there's a term that everyone uses here in Curse, and it's go hyphy. You just go for the kills all the time. He's like, I gotta teach these guys not to go hard too often.
Yeah.
You gotta play for the objectives. You gotta do it smart. But right now, they've got the objectives.
Yeah.
Hyphy is the next word in the dictionary for these guys.
Honestly, from the way Curse has played so far this split, they need to go hyphy way more often.
Sure.
They've honestly looked generally scared about things to do and to not do in most of their defeats. Even in their victories, sometimes they're a little bit slower than they should be.
There's actually a great quote from Aframu about that. He says, you can teach an aggressive player to be more passive, because if it fails, they'll just stop doing it. And Curse tempering their aggression properly might be what's happening right here. 30 minutes in, looking to break the second tier of turrets. 1 for 3 so far.
It also, that quote also sounds like a great excuse to die turret diving all the time. Be
Sure.
like, I was just playing aggressive. I'll know
Testing
not
my
to do it
limits.
when it matters. Don't worry.
That's my main excuse.
Then you do it when it matters. Like, whoopsie.
Yep. Well, we've seen LMQ fall victim to that, I think, more than any other team. The most willing to be aggressive sometimes doesn't quite work out. Curse trying to do the right balance here.
Yeah, they're a little bit out of sync here. I mean, they're trying to get all 3 waves pushing at the same time, but this is ticking their Baron buff off. IWillDominate as your guy you send to go split push a wave. Not ideal. He can come from a flank attack, potentially. Voyboy at least has his ultimate up again.
Yeah. Well, they are wearing down the mana bar of elimination, the health bars of Cloud9, though. So many poke rockets come out from the Yordle combo, Ziggs and Corki. They're slowly pushing C9 back and away. Blue buff plus Baron buff. Voyboy does not have mana issues. There's round number 5 for the tier 2 turret. Very tempered in their aggression, but this should be going down right now.
Yep, getting the outers. At this rate, since they're not getting team fights, you would think that the Baron buff would expire and they'd go for the inhibitor turrets on the next cycle of the Baron buff. But they do have a lot of dive potential with that Xpecial. And Baron buff is up. No longer there. As the Baron buff is expired.
Yep, Baron buff has timed out. 2 minutes 40-ish until the respawn there. Sneaky had to give up tier 2 top turret. He was out of mana, had to go back to the base, and that was part of the resources that Cloud9 was slowly losing. Wave clear from kog'Maw is fairly expensive. It's not hyper efficient. You can clear for some time, but if you lose all your blues, if you lose out of the Baron buff, all this stuff, you get out sieged. You run out of resources. Literally how sieges work. And Curse played that one exactly right. So that Baron buff got them some more turrets down. Push the gold lead farther. Dragon up in 145. Baron soon to follow. And down the line, gold leads for every single player in the team.
Yeah. And a huge gold lead in the game. They're 10,000 gold up on Cloud9.
Curse have never beaten C9 in my recollection. That was the pregame interview we said. Xpecial was like, we've never taken these guys out ever in the history of competitive League of Legends.
Wow.
And they're looking to do that. I mean, SuperWeek's a big week of firsts. Double to 500 kills, Xpecial 1,000 assists.
5-man push up the mid lane by Cloud9 though. This is easily going to give them a turret.
Wow. The first turret of the game for Cloud9 at 32 minutes. Another rare sight for these guys. There's Quas in the bottom lane pushing up, and the major objectives coming up. We see a lot of teams. Baron number 1 means get control, make sure the turrets are gone. Set up for the next one. Baron number 2 is the death knell a lot of the time.
Checklist. Things to be able to do during the game. Also, as far as teams that are behind in games, we've definitely seeing longer games this week.
True.
4.10 patch may have a fairly large impact on this, and kind of here's why. AD carries being much stronger late game gives a lot of these teams an idea that if we just stall it out and play passively, kog'Maw will get strong enough and we can make things happen. It might be what Cloud9 is thinking right now. Whereas sometimes that just lulls you into this false sense of just giving things up. Whereas previously when Cloud9 was behind, when they're a team that was behind, they would just keep coming at you because they would realize, hey, if we don't do something, the other team's just going to starve us out. And right now, Cloud9 is the team kind of getting starved out because they think they have this kog'Maw as their late game insurance. But based on the dive potential of Curse, that is putting a lot of weight on Sneaky's shoulders. Yeah,
and there's honestly so much weight coming in from the Frozen Heart Elise. The steal not going to happen. Dragon goes in, and by the way, Baron's up in 13 seconds. Now the smite's down. Maybe they wait a little bit for this one. As Hypner's trying to give gold to Sneaky, he's still got a lot of room to go. Only just now starting on Infinity Edge, while Cop's already got 3 completed items. High clears his blue buff on top of a ward. Voyboy does not get the steal. High walks out. But you can see they're on top of pink wards. They know vision control's already there for Curse.
He didn't want to waste auto attacks on the pink ward because he knew we needed the blue buff down as soon as possible. Actually, a really smart move there by High.
Limited amount of time till they show up and try to kill you. Quas, look at that, getting his own ward control over this bottom jungle. He will now know if someone tries to stop him here. He can easily split safely. Dominate, though, losing a lot of HP right now. 1/3 health. Sneaky has to flash away.
That's huge. And heal. If they try and team fight, he is just a sitting duck for Xpecial to pin down. He can't even look near Xpecial without getting killed. This is pretty bad for Cloud9 Freak.
Yeah, it is. And that's the thing, you know? An aggressive team, Xpecial playing one of his best days of League of Legends we've seen in quite some time. Cop as well, to be completely fair on this one. Curse looking to make this a 2-0 day for the guys. Get some good competition. Another recall for High. They know, though, Baron on the table. Everyone's got to keep in mind that top side of the river. There's a lot of gold waiting to be picked up in a buff that could mean multiple turrets. If someone can get this, maybe Cloud9 gets that miracle team fight. They're holding the disadvantage at 10,000 flat. It's just staying 10K. The later that goes, the less 10K matters as builds fill out and get completed. There's still some time to go. Cop going for lifesteal item next.
Yeah.
Not a big deal anyway. At this point, he's hit the cap.
Probably.
Yeah, most likely. BT would still work pretty well, to be fair. Both could work. I'm actually surprised not to see Zerkgreaves done on him, though. A little bit of a low value on attack speed. Help him kill off a Renekton, maybe, but whatever. Top lane actually outer will go Cloud9's way, so Curse, maybe you just got to be a little bit concerned about not being too scared. You talk about late game insurance. Oh, don't worry, we've got a kog'Maw. Maybe do the same for Jax, right? Don't worry, Quas is winning. Just eventually the split push will work. Make sure that's not the case here for these guys. Voyboy putting huge damage. Wow, look at that turret down to half HP right now. Quas not getting dissuaded at all. Balls goes in, though, pretty much by himself. Here comes Meteos, here comes Tidal Wave. Can they get enough? Voyboy's got to be real careful. Flashing away, now Quas getting chased. Bubble misses, Shockwave. Flashed away safely. Meteos takes Quas back in, though, in the middle of the team, but Baron's being hit, by the way. Quas goes down, but so does Baron. Worth it, types Quas in all chat.
Yep. 1 kill for a Baron. And now the answer for Cloud9 has got to be, what can we do while Quas is dead? They're pushing as quickly as possible up the mid lane, trying desperately to get some of this gold back.
5v4, full health kog'Maw is there. Summoner spells halfway back up. Tier 2 is going to go down. Can they make that inhibitor as well? 35 seconds. They have a cannon minion, but Voyboy has wave clear, so maybe not so much. The trade went equal in gold. We're still at a 10,000 gold difference. The difference, though, is a 4-person Baron buff worth about 5,000 in combat stats.
Yeah, so Curse has Baron on 4 people. Quas the only person without it, but Cloud9's going to get 2 whole turrets out of this exchange. Quas can actually teleport in to help out this mid lane push if Curse got there in time. I don't think it's going to happen, though. They're going to get back pretty quick.
Might be the case. The red buff also up in the southern jungle. Curse still going to look forward. This turret's very low on HP. Xpecial is going to tank it, and Cop's going to deal the damage there. Dominate waits around. He can toss out stuns. 1 hit, and they do get it. Cop in the last possible second gets away. Valkyrie even proccing Trinity Force for him to make sure it went down nicely. And now the inhibitor's available.
Quas is getting very large as well. 383 CS on Jax. And counting. Curse. 15,000 gold or more on 2 people.
I can't believe the 4,000 gold lead in the top lane. They have the same kill score, but global gold plus minions is more than a full item advantage.
Yeah, this is definitely not been Balls' day.
No.
Or week even.
No.
His KO game got heavily punished. His Mundo game was great.
Yes.
Against LMQ. But outside of that, not a matchup he should have lost early on.
As the Curse go back to the 1-3-1 though, it was Ziggs sent to the bottom lane. But they realize again, mid inhibitor, there's no turret there anymore. They can just apply pressure and likely get their way in. Quas' split push makes plenty of sense. He's still got TP, he can walk across the map as well. Randuin's and soon to be a Banshee's Veil done on him, so he's tanky enough to make plays and not get punished too much. Cloud9 stuck inside their base. Wards over the wall to watch for the rotations of Curse, who also try to get some vision across and see where Cloud9 goes. Here's the wave. There's the blue buff steal one more time. Voyboy, plenty of mana to spend.
So we kind of got to answer the question as well, why is this game going so long?
Yeah. And
a lot of it just has to do with Cloud9 banking on the fact that kog'Maw can make it late, but also the respect that Curse has to give kog'Maw because he does so much damage, almost regardless of how tanky you become. If you're not getting your business done very quickly while you're diving that base, kog'Maw would be able to clean up as far behind as he is. So Curse needs to be very certain that they land the right type of lockdown before engaging. With the Baron buff, now is as good a time as ever to go in, but that's why it's taking so long.
They're still trying. Rocket's gonna hit Sneaky, who lifesteals it back up pretty easily. Ziggs ulti doesn't do much for this one.
Yeah, and that makes things much more dangerous. You know, they've thrown the Ziggs ult not on top of some Leona lockdown. The summoner spells are alive on Sneaky, so even if they do try a solar flare, he can flash to the side of it and then kill Xpecial again like he did for one of the few kills that Cloud9 picked up this game.
Wow, and they gotta be careful not to give any more. You got a game like this, if you lose that next fight, the momentum just completely shifts and Curse unwilling to have that happen. They've actually grown their gold lead though. It's 11,500. They've taken away everything. Dragon back up as well. And they can keep pushing that one forward. Cop now at 4 items. He will not have any more offensive advantage over Sneaky the rest of this game. Sneaky will only catch up from here on out.
Yeah. Corki not the late game monster. Jax is very good late game. But if somehow Sneaky can avoid the crowd control of Leona and all the damage coming out from Ziggs, he is that monster. All right.
Ward's going away. Dominate. Get rid of the dragon. It's more of like a neutral ward. Watches champions all the time. And go down.
Taking his time.
Yeah. I don't know. Curse is
got it.
Scaring me a little bit here.
Yeah, honestly.
Xpecial criticized his own shot calling after their previous game.
I mean, we even just compared to the TSM game we just saw where TSM was all
and it just closed it out.
Yep.
It just fought people and away their opponents went.
Yeah, with the 14,000 gold lead, I mean, things have been going somewhat smoothly, but slower than they should be.
Definitely.
If we're looking at Curse trying to make their entrance into the conversation for top teams in North America. They beat LMQ earlier in a good game.
I mean, think about teams in a similar predicament. Evil Geniuses have had a historically horrible time trying to close games out. And almost every single time it actually slips away from them. Something happens horribly wrong and they lose a game they had in their hands. And it's these small failures that keep them from being in that top team conversation. This is somewhere that Curse wants to be. They want to say, hey, we're really top 4. We can make that rush for the playoffs. You've got to respect us. And this is not the way you earn it right now. They get the win, that's good, but 3 Barons in?
Yep. Hey, at the same time, gold lead is increasing. The 6-item thresholds are not quite reached. They're getting very close, which is dangerous. Mainly the mid lanes and 80 carries is where you have to be comparing the itemization. And it's not very advantageous for Curse right now in those 2 positions. Where they hold their edge is in the Jax, the third big threat that will need to make the difference.
At least Xpecial has a lot of room to grow. They've actually done a pretty good job of allowing him to get those stacks through on his face of the mountain.
Yeah.
Like Dignitas, I think, does a horrible job of letting Kiwi Kid get the gold. I see him like get wave good in front of, and he's like, guys.
Speaking of which, using that support item, I have seen so many supports that I've even played with just use it whenever they can in lane, so they'll use it on the ranged minions.
Oh,
meaning
man.
they're sharing only 15 gold most of the time. Use it on the melee minions, but most importantly, use it on the cannon minions.
Yep.
You pretty much never want to proc it on a ranged minion, because it is the worst thing you can do, efficiency-wise.
Quick pro tip. Your first 4 minions should be 2 melees and then 2 cannons. Don't use your 4th charge when it comes back up. A cannon comes up before your 5th charge would
First
be there.
2 melees of the wave if you can.
Sure. Or the second wave if it's a second wave push you need. Some actually will save
would that make it so you can't get the next cannon?
No, because as soon as you do the first charge, it starts going. So you've got a minute to use your second charge.
As long as you use the first charge on the first wave.
Yes, absolutely the first charge on the first wave. I see some guys save it for sustain. Some will save it to get level 2 on the second wave sooner, because you have to wait for the second wave to get it. There's a lot of little tricks you can do, but 2 melees, 2 cannons, keep that in mind. Baron, number 3 here, complete control once again for Curse. So then have a few wards in the western jungle, but not enough for the Baron pit. The 44-minute Baron, all the Curse fantasy team owners gonna be happy.
Yeah. How many points can a team actually score?
11 plus turrets.
19 dragons, and 7 Barons.
That'd be a lot.
The way Curse is playing, we're headed in that direction. Yes, their gold lead is still increasing, but their aggressiveness has really been non-existent. Obviously, Cloud9 hasn't given them many opportunities to be aggressive.
They've turtled very successfully. Orianna, one of the hardest teams to push against, to be completely fair. Very difficult to go in on her. Cop is on a short-range AD carry. It is actually extremely hard to outplay Orianna on Corki. Valkyrie moves so slowly and so deliberately, you can catch him with a shockwave. You have no way of hitting a turret outside of 550 range.
Yeah.
Voyboy is actually, interesting enough, their best sieger, and he has Lich Bane to that effect. He's got Distortion as well to flash out of shockwaves more frequently. There are ways for Curse to get in on this. I'm actually surprised they haven't
done more
bullied
split
past.
To me.
Yeah, that for one, and also just bullying past the fact that the mid turret's down. You just walk forward and eventually you get in.
Yeah, well, Quas has got a full item build now. So they got max items pretty much on 3 people. It is go time. We know Quas can beat balls heavily in duels. Maybe not with the Thornmail now, but it seems like he should be able to. He's wearing all 3 buffs and a GA.
You've got a Trinity Force box.
He can ignore him and kill this turret.
And he goes, he did pull aggro, though the counterstrike hit balls, but he's going to go for it anyway. Does not take much damage from the mostly tank Renekton. Ward hops away from high, but that's Orianna on the wrong side of the map, meaning Curse could go in on a 4v3 top side. That doesn't happen. They're still pensive. No engage there, despite the fact that, to be honest, Flash and ulti would work there.
Yeah, they can wait this one out, though, to wait until Quas wins.
And there we go. Turret goes down. Now does he try to face up against balls? Not so much here. Still respecting the Thornmail on this one. And slowly Quas continues to work his way in. Meteos poking out what he can, but now 2 inhibitors are open. Quas continues now to actually take one down.
I don't know what Balls has left to do. His ultimate's already been burned. If they don't send backup, the inhibitor's going down.
Quas regenerating rather rapidly as well from the Baron buff. Balls at a 1,000 health. Rando is popped as well. Balls' ulti is down as well. Sneaky will join the fight, and that does push him away. But that's no AD carry. That's another way that Curse could go in on this.
Yeah, I mean, Cop is respecting heavily the Orianna Shockwave right now. Very surprised while there was a missing kog'Maw that Curse didn't just walk up with Xpecial to tank that.
Wow.
Slowly but surely.
Really respecting
Get it.
moves.
With the inhibitor.
There we go. Inhibitor's going to go down. That's number 1 of the game. 47 minutes in. Quas finally pushing into the base. Goes for the opening as well onto balls. Takes a shield. Look at that. That's a lot of health.
See, every time Orianna peels away, I would expect Curse on the other side to tank the turret a little bit, but they're still getting it slowly.
All right, this is their way in. This one, I think they can get there. Poke in from Sneaky, gonna miss a little bit.
What
Half
Lich Bane
HP.
hit.
Wow! That turret, or inhibitor rather, is dropping rapidly. Minion still floating in. Quas gotta be a bit careful. Puts the dodge on, and away he goes. Mid inhib actually stays alive, and actually, Curse forced back to heal. Quas is too low to keep fighting. Does not necessarily want to burn his teleport for that. Dragon's back up anyway. They can get more gold. Quas will indeed walk
More
back.
gold right now.
No, I don't think
Telling
they
me
need
they're
it.
good.
This is the risk. This is the 4v5 that Curse are
Yeah,
potentially
he's just
walking
got a Lich Bane hit. And
down it goes.
all right, 2 inhibitors. That should should be enough. And that basically means Cloud9 has lost at this point without really doing much.
2 kills on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
The one pick they got on Quas in response for Baron got them 2 more turrets. It brought them to that 4 turret score that you see right here for these guys. They had the one good mid-game play. Quas's TP was down. They postured for Dragon, and Curse respected their engage. Those have been the only ins I've seen for Cloud9 so far.
Yeah, this is the classic. It's been very much Curse waiting. At this point, Cloud9, they can either try fight now, which they're most likely lose, or wait until they have 1 or 2 people trying to kill those monstrous waves of super minions at their nexus, while losing super minion number 3. A very similar situation happened in our 65-minute game earlier today. And there's not much Cloud9 can do here. Quas will just kill their Nexus turrets.
Yeah, he's going for number 1 right now. In fact, he's going pretty rapidly. Quas does get some minion aggro, but he's got super minions in there as well. So hey, Balls can only do so much. Yeah, he can easily. Dodge comes back up. Trinity Force damage comes through. Corki doing what damage he can to the top side. Dominate takes a shockwave. No, not just damage actually. And the top lane inhib turret down to half health right now. Quas going one more time. There's the first turret picked up. Balls and Sneaky doing what they can to defend this. The base is still slowly but surely falling. Meteos can't quite find the way in. Dominate low on health and mana. Curse might be forced to heal up one more time and try again later. The inhibs come up in about 2 minutes at this point. But they've made their way in for 2 turrets over the last 3 minutes or so. Blue buff steal one more time for Voyboy. He's out of mana though. It's actually time for Curse to get all the resources back actually. Quas steals the red. Cloud9 actually take this time to try to get Baron control. Maybe they can stall out Curse for even longer. At this point, the gold lead stops mattering as much. Balls is half an item away. Meteos 1 item away. High is done. Sneaky is only 1 item away.
Yeah. However, Cloud9's base is in complete shambles.
True.
It feels like if you were to put a percentage on this at this point, I give a 2% chance to Cloud9 for winning this game. 2%. 2%.
I would go as high as 90. Well, sorry, 90-10, 90 for Curse.
Yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't going to go for that one.
It's like, damn, you got a lot of faith in that late game kog'Maw. At this point, Curse can I feel like they can win without even really fighting Cloud9 head on, as they have done so far in this 50-minute game. They'll secure the Baron. They're going to do the same song and dance with Quas against Balls. Balls cannot stick with them late game unless they send a second primary damage dealer, which would leave Cloud9 with just 1. And then they'll lose their turret to Lich Brain Pox from Ziggs.
So Baron number 4 for Curse coming through right now. They
Quas,
have...
get out of there!
Oh gosh,
Quas, run!
He's gonna run. Tidal Wave won't matter because there is a Banshee's Veil. Jumps to the minion. Meteos, not a very good Q. Melee minion tanks it for Quas. And now the rest of Curse go to the top lane. C9 has to respect that right now. They're beelining over, and Quas is gonna start pressuring the bottom lane as the inhibs come back up. And there's the push in. Turret's going down rather fast. There we go. 10 turrets in. Quas finds the inhibitor one more time. Balls wouldn't even try stopping him here.
What a demoralizing game for Cloud9. 52 minutes of farming and never putting up a fight.
Not find their way in. Quas does take some damage the way out. Actually, Quas down to half health from kog'Maw. He's forced to flash away from that one. Mid inhib comes back up, but top inhib under fire right now. Nobody stopping Cop in time. Ulti from Xpecial. Doesn't find too much. There's a tidal wave though, and there's a kick in. Meteos looks for a shockwave, misses though. High gets nothing. And out Curse goes with 2 inhibs down. Quas hitting the middle inhibitor at the same time. Balls forces him out. But there's no regen for Curse. They will whittle this down. The minions will come in.
Pretty low.
I don't know though. Balls forced to run away from
the inhibitor.
Is around. 3rd inhibitor likely to fall right now. Dominate gets some healing. There's Meteos taking a bunch of damage. 3 inhibs now gone. 52.5 minutes in. Cloud9 still not able to push Curse out of their base.
Definitely not. 20,000 gold lead. Question now, does Curse try to reset things or just wait for the minions to arrive? 2 monster minions will be in each wave, meaning 6 to 12 can meet at the final Nexus turrets. That is a lot of meat to cut through in Cloud9.
Yeah, there is a lot here, and Curse happy to stay in the base regenerating. Moving on forward, these super minions do die very fast, but the next wave will have the extra magic resist aura on them. kog'Maw's going to get significantly worse at killing those things. You know, percent health damage is capped against monsters, not against minions. So Kog destroys super minions. They have negative magic resist.
Oh no.
Oh no, another shockwave does not catch Boy.
That's icing on the cake.
His flash was down, and there's the push on in. One Nexus turret left. Baron buff still there for a minute and a half. The push on in.
Elise.
There's the ulti. High push back. Leona's going to catch him. Turret goes down. Here comes the fight on the Nexus. 44 minutes in. Curse closes out the game versus Cloud9.
Definitely one of the lowest kill games we have seen in the North American LCS this split. Curse was involved in the other one in their very low kill loss to CLG last split.
Yeah.
But man, 54 minutes.
6 kills.
And thousands of minions were destroyed, I would have to say.
Those poor minions.
Those poor guys, they really played their heart out this game. What a demoralizing loss for Cloud9 and Cloud9 fans alike, because they did not do a thing that game. 2 kills and only 4 deaths, meaning their opposition was a very, very weak wall that would just get pushed back at any moment and never quite defend what they needed it to.
I wonder, last death compared to game ending, the time there.
This is probably a record.
Probably.
Yeah. I'm willing to say right now that is absolutely record for the LCS.
Death compared to time end.
I haven't even checked, but I've seen all the LCS games, so it is a fact now.
It is now a fact, chat.
Yes.